Hi, welcome back to Coffee with Kirren, season 2. I'm back this season with some fantastic guests. We're just going to be really unfiltered and just say it how it is in the real estate market. So let's get started with episode 1. So today we have Kash, we have Lisa, and we have Trist.
Yo.
And I'm super happy to have them all here. So we're going to go straight into it and let's chat about some things that we've been talking about a lot recently in the office with our clients. So let me open out to the floor. We've all kind of seen changes in the industry over the last few years. And I feel like the vibes changed a little bit from where people were like, FOMO, fear of missing out, buy whatever you can because you're going to miss out on launch, to now where they're being strategic. They're like really careful, because I've got my clients literally like, tell me about this. They're not jumping on the newest launch. They want to know the facts, the figures, and the numbers. Like, what's your guys' opinion? Like, have you experienced the same, or have you still got people with the FOMO mentality?
Yeah, for sure. I think for me, I haven't necessarily noticed a shift. I've watched the shift from the outside. So like, I feel like investors, and we said it today, I think at the bike ride, they're getting smarter. I feel like investors are asking the right questions because they've realized, like, as much as the market is really strong now, there was a time where a lot of these developers, not so much the ones we talk about a lot now for us, but a lot of developers weren't delivering.
Yeah.
And I think all these investors have heard these horror stories, like especially with me, a lot of my clients are UK based, right? So they have that in the back of their mind, like, what if they don't deliver? What if it doesn't look like the brochure? And when I dig deeper, I'm like, where did this come from? It comes from horror stories they've heard. Not so much recently, like this is like, old Dubai, like early days when the market wasn't as regulated and RERA wasn't involved, etc. Yeah, pre-COVID. So I think they've heard them stories and they don't want to be those people. So now I think they're a lot wiser. And also think when things look too good to be true, investors generally are aware of that. And like, let's be honest, like a lot of developers are going over the top with their marketing.
Yeah, but do you think it's because as well, what I find, again, with UK, US, in Africa when we went, I'm dealing with the European market right now, and it's very much because it's not what they're used to. They're used to, in their own home countries, things, it's like, oh, well, I'm just going to pay this payment plan and you're just telling me there's going to be a property there. Where's my construction updates? Like, literally people want to know, has the project started? And they find it a bit scary that you haven't even started construction. Like, how do you guys, I know you spend a lot of time, Lisa, on construction sites taking the videos. You spend a lot of time in Katora, doing updates for your clients.
I think it is important, definitely, like the consistency of delivery is something that a lot of knowledgeable investors will ask about. I think there's definitely a segment that's still just moving on FOMO.
Yeah.
From my experience, like everybody's buying in Dubai.
Yeah.
Last year it was like 270,000 new investors.
Yeah.
Right? And so there's a lot of people just buying because Dubai is hot right now and because of all the news around it. But like Tristan is saying, consistency on delivery is key. And anyone who does know or who has bought before or who has been watching the market for some time is definitely going to be looking at that.
Yeah.
Also, I think what some of us agents promise is not necessarily what happens, right?
Yeah,
the
I was just gonna
returns on
say
properties now.
Because it's our responsibility. Like, what I was going to say is, like, as much as you said, like, it shifted for investors, it's the responsibility of the brokers to help it shift. And I think it is. I think brokers are helping to shift. I definitely think our team are. Like, I even put a post out today, like, when I look at the content coming from our team, it's very data heavy. And when I look at a lot of other agencies, like, I know I was training a lot of companies before, so I've seen a lot from a lot of the brokers. And I don't think, honestly, I don't think there's many other companies that are as data heavy as us. And I think the reason why we are is because all the individuals are quite data heavy on their own. Like Kash is, Hamza is, like, you guys both are as well. And I just feel like you need a team of people that care about the market from an economical standpoint, and then it shifts the investors, and then slowly but surely, I think you can't fight that shift. You know.
You and I have done a lot of road shows as well, Kash. So when we're on the road shows and we're trying to, sell in the event itself, like, how do you get past that as well? Like, we're selling literally from our laptop. Like, this is a picture. This is how do we gain that trust in, you know, if there was a client sitting in front of you, like, I really like the idea, but how do I know I'm really going to get it? How do you deal with that? Because you're very good at that.
See, look, honestly, the first boundary that we tend to sort of come up against when we're speaking to these clients is they don't even understand what off-plan property is, right? They're used to the idea of a secondary property that they can see, feel, touch, go and view multiple times, negotiate over months, and then come back to it, right? And here we are at a desk in under an hour trying to convince them that they've got to give us 25K to sort of secure the next big opportunity. And I always say it to the client straight. It's going to sound like a sales pitch.
Yeah.
It sounds like the worst sales tactic in the world, right? Like, pay this right now and we're going to get it for you and it's exclusive and this and that. But in reality, with most of the developers that we're all working with, that is the case.
That is the case.
And do you know,
it is.
I've sat across the room from Kash in a roadshow, and honestly, all I hear is numbers, facts, figures, numbers. And it's just like, where are you getting these from? Like, it's got a whole spreadsheet out and everything, like full on like breakdown. But yeah, and for you, I know that's how it works. Is you convince people by numbers as well, right?
Yeah, look, personally speaking, there's two ways I go about it. The first thing I say to them is, look at Dubai 20 years ago, right? It was a desert. The room we're sitting in now, the buildings that you see, none of these existed 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And to have a government and a leadership that builds out and delivers the promises that they've been promising for the last 20 years and doing it so quick, what do you think is going to happen in the next 20?
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
The people that didn't invest 15 years ago, myself included, by the way,
I'm
kicking myself, right?
time.
I'm thinking, why did I do that then when prices were like less than a third of what they are today?
And you've got a long history in Dubai. You're not new to it. You're not an expat
Dubai's my
like
home.
us.
Yeah,
exactly.
Dubai's my home.
Yeah.
Dubai's home.
So I think for me as well, I to convince people when I'm like talking and they're like, well, how do I know it's going to deliver? And I'm like, but that's my job as your agent. Like, I'm making sure it's going to deliver. I'm not going to sell you something that, one, that's going to ruin my reputation. And secondly, like, I want to be able to sell that property or rent it out for you afterwards. So we'll only go with the blue chip developers, which we all pretty much do. And we don't really trust the small ones so much, right?
I think it's true what Kash just said though. I know me and him spoke about yesterday, like, investors think that FOMO is the tactic, or like in the sense of like, if you don't secure this now, it will be sold out. And it's the most cliche thing to say as a salesperson, but the harsh reality is it will be sold out.
Yeah.
Like, we've seen it with so many projects. I was talking to a client yesterday and he's like, I've literally been on the sidelines for like the last year and he's seen so many things come and go. So I feel like...
What stopped him? That's always my question. What stopped
things.
you?
I would say it's a few things. Number one, and this is something I'm going to talk about a lot on my platform, right? There's an overwhelming factor to the market. And it's like, if you take a child to a candy store, like, it could take them hours to pick. Whereas if you take them to like your local newsagents and there's only free chocolates, they'll pick, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, you're putting investors in something that is 10x the speed, 10x the amount, 10x the marketing, and 10x the returns to what they're used to. So naturally, like, even the deal we was just referring to, like, this client, he's been on the sidelines for a while himself, and he's you know, he's not a time waster. And I made a joke to him. I said, like, if I gave you to an amateur agent, they'd probably get frustrated and like be like, you're just a time waster.
Yeah.
But I could read the room enough to know, like, it's like, you're overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And I get it, like, because as a person, like, outside of even investing, I'm quite like that. I always say to people around me, like, there's too many options, like, I'm really not good at that.
Yeah.
So imagine what they feel like. It's like every developer has got something. Like, look at what's going on right now with Dubai land. It's like, you had the valley, okay, then it was one, then now you've got Shoba, then you've got islands, then you've got Leo. It's like, it's
and then you got the sanctuary.
Yeah, it's overwhelming. Like, so I do get it from their point of view why they feel like that. But going back to Kash's point, it's like, for anyone watching, it isn't actually a sales tactic. When we say you will miss out, you will miss out.
We promise. We promise.
Yeah. We promise. Because absorption in Dubai is crazy. So, and I think that's the bit that, again, I'm just quite solidly focused on UK, and UK investors, they don't see absorption like this.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They do not see absorption, so they just don't believe it. Like,
but anywhere in the world is like that.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Dubai is such a dynamic market, right? Things that happen in this market don't happen anywhere else in the world.
Exactly, yeah.
You know, so it's really hard for people to understand. But I think a major factor is educating clients.
Yes.
You guys have all touched on that, right? Yeah. Like, you have to be in a position to actually educate the client, and you have to be in a position to clearly understand what they're trying to achieve.
Yeah.
Because again, the investment goal actually dictates what project you're going to offer out of the 500 launches there are this quarter, you know?
So you and me were talking about this the other day. I was like, I've given them They asked for these options. They gave me the criteria. I've given them perfect options for that criteria, and they're still not satisfied. What? Like, and I'm like, I can't understand why. It's like, oh, can we just see something like this? Can we just see something like this? So it's almost like, is there too much choice? And, you know, because people are hearing it. I feel like with my clients, they're scared to commit on something in case something better comes tomorrow.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is.
It goes back to the overwhelm factor. I think something I've been saying to like the team that I'm building is this is more from a sales point of view, right? People they'll decide with the person they feel is the person to decide with, right?
Yeah.
But they'll gather information from the person they feel is just the information store.
Yeah.
And there's a thin line. And this is what I say to a lot of the new agents. It's like, don't get me wrong, learn your product, 100% learn the market. But some people know so much of the market, but they can't close deals.
Yeah.
And I think that's like a really grey area and it's frustrating for that agent because it's like, but I know so much and I've told you so much, but that's not actually enough. And I think, like for me personally, I find that I'm in that, and obviously I'm very new to the education side of it, but I'm in that area where I know a lot of like fresh information on the market, but because I haven't been in it for like 10, 15 years, I don't know too much to like kind of stagnate me, if that makes sense. So it's like, I know enough to know what's happening. And I also, like investment wise, I'm like 15 years experience when it comes to investments as a whole. So I know, you know, the dynamics of investing. But then I lean very heavily into like, this is where we're at, and I lean into sales skills. And for me, that's based on like people buy people that they think are going to lead them into the right position.
People buy from people. I always say this is all about your relationship building. You've got to have like good relationship rapport with someone, and people will buy from you because obviously they'll trust you. But I think going back to my original point was, has the demographic changed of the way people are, not demographic, I don't know what the right word is, but you know, I remember when it was 3 years ago, it was FOMO buying. And then to now it's like let me think about this. This is my plan. Then I want to do this. Because I'm thinking, are they doing it more like that because they're looking to move more investments into Dubai? Before it was like, let me just put one thing there, little holiday home situation. But because of what's happening around the world, people are like, I think that's where I'm going to have to start selling up everything in the UK, India, Pakistan, wherever they're selling up, bring it to Dubai.
I think people have realized that Dubai is more than just a tax safe haven these days. It's like, we are the safest city in the world, right? We are the cleanest city. We are the place that people want to be. And I think our investor profile's definitely changed over the last 8 to 12 months. Previously, it was, we just want to have an investment property in Dubai, right? How much money am I going to make from that? Nowadays, a lot of my clients are calling me up and saying, listen, you know that investment property we bought? We might actually use that, right? Or why don't you show us something that is going to be ready in 3 years? Because they're thinking in 3 years' time, I want to get out of wherever I am and shift over to Dubai. And that's completely changed the market for us.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think what people need to understand, like, what I say to my clients is there is going to be something better tomorrow. But if you have the money today, secure something today because the price could be different tomorrow. Or the market could be different tomorrow.
That's it.
You know, but if you're waiting for the best thing, then you're just going to be on the sidelines forever.
Yeah. You keep waiting, and everything's going to move past. But on that note, where I think where I just kind of made a comment saying, I feel like there's a lot of choice now, which is why people are like, let me see this, or let me wait for the one tomorrow. But we also know that there's a big difference between the supply and the demand, right? So what are you finding that people are wanting more of that there isn't? Which I think we're all going to probably say the same thing.
What, townhomes and villas?
Oh, yeah. Exactly that. I literally had a conversation with a guy today. He's from the UK. He lived in Dubai for many, many years. His parents are here. He's like, Kirren, I want a townhouse. Great. What's your budget? Oh, like 2 mil. I'm like,
not happening.
That's not happening. I'm like,
not anymore.
No,
unfortunately.
Yeah.
I've got a video coming out this week, and the hook is you will not find a villa for less than 3 mil ever again.
No.
Just to get their
Not even
attention.
villa, like a townhouse. Like, he's just like, what I kind of said to him, I was like, here's the thing that's changing now because of demand and supply in my eyes, is that it's not about you saying, I want this, this, and this. It's about me saying, this is what we have, which is going to work best for you.
Yeah.
Because there's just not that supply. The demand's crazy, and things are being built for the demand of, you know, what people want the most of, i.e. 4 and 5 bedroom townhouses. This guy wants a 3-bedroom townhouse with, you know, a separate bedroom downstairs for the parents. And I'm just like, you're not in that price range or not in that area kind of thing. So I'm like, look, I can tell you where the best townhouses are. I can tell you the prices, how it works. And then he wants something ready in 18 months. And I'm like, you just make it even harder for me. So I'm like, it doesn't work that way. I'm going to have to tell you, this is what's available. These are your options. And you're going to have to tell me what works best for you. It's not about you telling me what you want anymore.
Yeah, but it's better that you do that than just throw 10,000 projects at him and hope that one sticks, though, right?
Yeah.
It's better that you find out what his actual investor profile is or end use profile is, and then really hone in on what the right project is for him.
Yeah, but what do you think about demand and supply? Like, do you think the demand's going to keep outweighing the supply, or do you think we're going to come to a change?
See, I always go back to the facts, right? To the data, to the numbers.
Yeah,
and
I know you do.
Look, the way you see it now, look at the population growth. We just hit 4 million people in Dubai, right? The population's growing about 200,000 odd people every single year. Majority of that population growth are families. Now, classify a family as 2 or more people that want to move into one place, right?
Yeah.
These families are increasingly looking for green communities, areas where there's schools easily accessible, hospitals, clinics, things like that nearby. And that's massively driving the demand for townhomes, right?
Yeah.
When I first moved to Dubai 20 plus years ago, it was all about studios.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted a studio or a one bed.
Yeah.
Drive down Sheikh Zayed Road today, all the buildings comprise of primarily studios and one bed units, right? But then when you see some of the newer developments that are coming out, now you're getting the larger 3-bed styles, the big 4-bed penthouse units, and now we're pushing into the townhome and villa space. That's the way the market is going. It's going towards those bigger style units. Not to say that nobody's in the market for studios or one beds anymore, because there's definitely a segment of the market that will definitely capitalize from that, but it's just the way the market's moving and the way that the data is showing us the market's going to move. I think the same trend is going to continue for at least the next 4 to 5 years.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Do you think it's so? When it was the studios and the 1 bedrooms, it was more because, like I was saying, there's people who are just getting the holiday homes, a bit of an investment.
All bachelors, right?
Yeah.
People that were building
work.
this city out. Yeah. Like bachelors, bankers, architects, people that were coming together, not necessarily with a family or something tying them down. They just saw a desert that was booming and they said, you know what, let's jump on that. They just moved out here.
But now we're seeing a lot more families, right?
I think people believe in it now. Like the thing is, it's like when you look at what's been rolled out online, because naturally online is one of the biggest marketing tools. Everyone in the UK, for example, right, has a family, friends that have a family that lives in Dubai. Everyone. Whereas if you rewind 10 years ago, everyone might have at bare minimum known a friend who had taken that leap and had a good job and went on their own. So I just think people believe in, like I used to get a lot of questions a few years ago when I first moved in 2020. Everyone used to be like, how can you live there? Like it doesn't seem like a place to live. Now that never comes up.
It's like, how do I live there? How do I get there?
The point is, that's only 5 years ago, right? That's the crazy
years
thing.
ago.
Even
so when you think about what it's going to be
a
like
lot of
in
my
a couple of
friends,
years.
they were like, never would have thought about coming to Dubai if it weren't for you moving there. And I'm still like, are you okay? Like we've been hearing about Dubai for years. But I mean,
people just believe in it now, man.
Yeah.
And you know, when you think about you asking about supply and demand, right? It's the balance between apartments and villas and townhouses, where apartments make up like 70% of the current stock, right? And then when you look at the units coming onto the market, they say something between, you know, stats show between 70K and 120K units coming on, and only 25% of those
I love that everyone's proper on numbers. You guys know your numbers just like
no,
that.
but then that's what gives you the backing,
but
right?
it's the
That's
stats,
when you know that
it's the facts.
that the villas will continue to appreciate, that you can predict that rental prices should ease out unless the population continues to go wild like as it is. And some of the areas that have oversupply are gonna, you know, slow down in capital growth. That's where we get our information, right? Based on what's coming onto the market.
When I'm talking to people about villas and townhouses now, I'm like, here's a map of Dubai. And then you change it to aerial view on Google Map. Show me where the plots are now. There's no plots. There's one big one right in the middle of Dubai, behind Dubai Hills, which we all know in marbles or something out later when it's done. And then you've got the Jebel Ali racecourse. But where else is there for a community? There isn't. So that's the other thing I keep saying. Dubai's been moving like from
inwards.
From the west, slowly going to the east, keep going. So that's the other thing that really annoys me when people are like, oh, it's too far. I'm like,
from where?
It's not too far. Too far from where?
Remember,
firstly.
I'm in the valley, so I am having this one.
You live far.
I'm in the valley. I've had the debate with the valley now, and back in 2021, I was the Mac Hills too. So I've been having this debate for 5 years, and I've had enough of it because do you know what it is like? Even because obviously naturally we're going to have that conversation with your show, because Shoba Sanctuary is right next to the valley. So if my point being is that if you study the cycles, you've seen what Dubai has done. So why are we still disbelieving it?
Yes.
We saw what happened with Damak Hills 2. When I was there in 2021, everyone was like, it's too far. Within about 6 months, Deliveroo's working, Talabat's working, Uber,
buses,
it's all working. Now, you talk about Damak Hills, loads of people live there. It's like a normal place to go. So I feel like that mentality, we've got to look at the cycles. One thing I love about the Dubai market is there's so much backing in the data.
Yeah.
Like this is not, and obviously we're blessed because it probably was harder 20 years ago to be able to prove that. But the other day I heard someone say that he was selling Dubai Hills in 2008.
Wow.
And he said that people were saying it's too far.
Wow. Yeah.
So when I heard that, I was like, you know what? That's just how it goes then, isn't it? Everyone's just...
This is it. This is natural. And I think this is our job to educate our people from our home countries or whatever, because they're used to living in these bigger cities, and we have to keep saying like Dubai is only 60 years old. Like UK's got hundreds of years of history. Even
market.
Abu Dhabi, like we're saying, is about 6 years old really when it comes from investment points of view. So there's so much growth there. Ras Al Khaimah, all these areas have still got so much growth in them. Like if you can't be open-minded to see the future vision, see what Dubai's already done, you're never gonna invest then if you don't do that. So
because it's either pay more money to be closer or just get what you can afford while it's still coming up. You know,
I think on the supply and demand topic as well, because obviously what the debate generally is like, is Dubai going to be able to keep up with this, or the other way around? So like, are people going to take all these places, right? Like some people argue like there's so many projects, who's going to live here? I had a client the other day say to me, but who's going to pay that and who's going to live here? And I think where people have a misconception is they think quite small about Dubai. Like when you go to like launches like the Benghazi launch the other day and you look around, it's like, this is not just UK, this is not just America. Like you've got people from all over the world. Like, and I really want to emphasize all over the world because Dubai is main stage. Australia is now flooding funds. You've got Africa, you've got Asia. So I think people need to realize, especially UK investors, when I have conversations with them, they have this idea of like, they think they're, like they just think like it's just them. It's like,
you know, I literally put, sorry to cut you off, but I did a post on LinkedIn, and one of the I was talking about EOIs, like, you know, people do create FOMO, but EOI is an urgent thing. You have to do it. So I'm like, what people don't understand, as you've just said, like, it's not just you. The market's 24/7. Every time zone is running around Dubai. So whilst you're asleep in the UK, I'm still working on the US, on like Africa or Turkey at the minute, and Bucharest, like everywhere. Like there's always someone awake, ready to buy.
And the more things that are going wrong in those other countries, like Australia is a big focus on mine at the moment. They're going through the same stuff UK's just gone through. So it's like, everything that keeps going wrong over there, they're all turning to Dubai. So I feel like people, going back to the debate of like supply and demand, it's like, yes, there is a huge supply effectively. If you look at it from a zoom out point of view, there's a lot of projects, yes. But the absorption, we always miss the absorption in this conversation. It's like, how quickly do they sell out? Islands too, like for example, it's like 10 billion, 13 billion, like they're selling out so quickly, and I think people just miss that part, you know?
But I don't think they understand why. I think that's what it is. Like we're saying, like, look, they're like, oh, it's all right, I'll get the next one. No, but you're going to miss out on, there might not even be a next one. Like we didn't know there was going to be a phase 2 of Damak Islands when we were selling Damak Islands 1. Like,
I don't know if Damak knew that.
No, what they said because they had so many EOIs still left over that they had to then release. That's the other thing I tell my clients. Look, the developers have bought land. Like a lot of this land's sold, right? But they don't know what they're doing with it. They're waiting to see, okay, we're ready to build on here now. What's the market saying? So I don't.
So good at that.
So I was like, this is what's happened. I think it must have happened in JVT, because JVT was just all villas, and now you've got all the apartment blocks. Even in Damak Hills 2, they were all townhouses and villas, and then all of a sudden they've got a few little, they started launching the apartments because at that time apartments were selling, studios and 1-beds, and now
they
we're like,
to the market really well.
And now there's just communities coming up of townhouses and villas. But with that said, I think you kind of mentioned something earlier. Is there a correction coming?
That's the $1 million question. When's the bubble going to burst?
Let me correct something. I hate it. I've been in real estate for 26 years. A bubble is, let me say it without being so aggressive. A bubble is when property prices are increasing and economy is decreasing. Right. Our economy is not decreasing at all.
You said it
is growing, and we've got a whole 2040 plan. Everything's happening. It's happening super well, and it's actually getting added to. So to me, there is no bubble. Correction's different. A bubble's different.
You've nailed it. Like, I think people don't understand the term correction, and I think where we're entering right now in 2026, the market is becoming more stable.
Yes.
Right? It's maturing. This is like what any market, like I was quite heavy in crypto in 2020. It was a quote unquote bubble, I guess. I guess that's what they mean when they say bubble, right? I think that's what it is. It's like we're being technical, but I guess when people say it, they just mean like as good as it was, I guess, right? And to some extent, they're kind of right. It's not going to be what it was in 2020.
Basically.
It's not going to be what it was in 2018.
I think when people say correction, to me, they're like, oh, the prices are going to drop because they've been growing so much and now they've got to drop. So I want to wait for that point.
Most people think 2008, 2009.
Yeah.
They think crash. They do, and I think the real problem is just definition of words. Because I think some people like correction is correct. There's going to be a correction, but is it going to be a crash? I don't think so.
I don't think it's a correction. So let me just give my opinion. So I don't think a correction. So this is how I explain it to my clients. So like, what do you think? I'm like, I've been in real estate for a long time. I've been through the recession in the UK. I watched that happen. I lived through it. I've seen cycles, right? I think what's going to happen is not so much a correction. I feel like people are going to get priced out. Okay. So we're now seeing the prices going up and up and up. And I'm now seeing these people that used to come along with the 200k budget, pounds, euros, whatever. I can't get you nothing no more. Before I could get you studio one bed, I can't get you nothing no more. So I feel like that's where the market's going to slow down, where all those entry level buyers were like swamping the market. There's nothing for you no more. So now it's going to go to the mid-level buyers and the more luxury end. I feel like that's how this market's going. That's
just to be devil's advocate.
No,
right?
you need to have your opinion.
So my view when people say correction is that, let's say, for example, you've got units in JVC. I know we all know that's going to come up if we're talking about correction, right? And what you're getting on the ROI or the rent now, in the next year, if there's correction, you'll no longer get. That's what I assume that people mean when they say we're going to basically, the correction is we're going to get the real value on this project, right? I do believe in some segments, high density areas, for example, projects where it's no copy paste, and the volume is through the roof. I do think there will be some form of correction in those kind of places. Like, I do think JVC will see a certain level of correction. I do, right?
What do you mean by correction though? Because it's, I mean, I've just, for me.
A repricing.
You think the prices are going to change?
I think what your landlords are going to get is going to change. I think if you own.
They're going to reduce the prices. Is that what you're trying to say?
I think so, yeah. Okay. I think because it's economics, right? So it's like, I think if you own, I don't want to name developers, but if you own something in JVC, for example, and you're getting, let's say, 90k a year on rent, right? Yeah. You might start getting 70. You might get 65. I don't want to put actual numbers out there, but I do think that I think it's inevitable as well. You know, am I the only one who thinks that?
Everyone who owns a unit in JVC right now is panicking. They are panicking. They're thinking, sell.
My clients are going to be ringing me.
All right. Actually, great you said that. Let me elaborate. I mean, copy-paste projects that don't have anything unique towards them, that have a similar layout to everything else in that area.
In them.
There's no scarcity. And I think supply and demand is a basic principle of property, right? And I think we get so caught up in the hype that sometimes, and we all do it, we forget that it's about supply and demand. Yeah. You know?
Go on, Lisa. Lisa, you're going to say something because I think you were going to say something that I was going to mention.
I think that when we talk about correction, it also speaks to the capital value of properties, right? Because the bubble discussion around Dubai is how I bought it at 1 million and I sold it 2 years later at 2 million, right? That's usually where people are like, that's unrealistic, that's not going to last, it's not sustainable. Yeah. And we can have the argument about where that's still happening even today as we speak, and where that's going to be less and less possible, and where in some communities there is no capital appreciation even at handover, right? Because that was always the promise. You will see, 8 to 12% per annum capital growth, and that's just not happening even now, before we talk about correction, right? And so I think what people need to be aware of is, especially if you're coming into the market to flip, you have to be very careful where you're investing.
And are you talking about Dubai in general, or are you talking about the whole UAE?
That's really broad. Just I'll tell you now. I think Dubai in general, because Dubai is a lot more mature as a market than any other, emirate. I'll let you go into RAC. I know how passionate you are about RAC.
That's why I'm saying it to you, because then I wanted to bring up, because you've sold quite a few in RAC, and you've sold them at such a good entry price, great payment plan, and so that's why I was trying to direct you to go that's why I was like, I think this is what you're going to say. So because it comes down to what you're saying, right? Supply and demand. Where's the demand going to be coming from?
Dubai demand is established. We know who's coming. It's people are coming to live here, work here, families. They like the fact that Dubai is established. They know what they're getting. They know the value. They know the safety. They know the direction of the city. Whereas with the not newer, but like Abu Dhabi, which only has right now freehold out, towards the ocean on the islands and stuff, that's what you're getting. RAC is for now, it's the casino, right?
Yeah.
And all the development around that. So Dubai is just a lot more mature.
Yeah.
And that means that on the cycle, it's peaking.
Yeah.
But I have been here, for 4 going 5 years. Yeah. And since the year I arrived, I was told that, the there's market is maturing and there's a correction coming.
I've been told about a correction for 3 years.
But the returns are different now, though.
Yeah.
I think it depends on where you buy.
No, it does, but it's hard. What I mean is, it's always going to depend on where you buy, but I do think that getting that, let's say, for example, 10%, 12% ROI, it is more difficult.
But even back then, it was very dependent on where you had invested, right?
Again, it comes down to the scarcity of not so much scarcity, but I always say floor, view, what's going to demand the drive.
It's harder to get. So let's say 12%. Let's talk about that, right? ROI.
Yeah.
And look, there may be something I'm not aware of, but I'm not saying it's impossible, by the way. But don't you think it's so much harder to get that now?
When you mean 12%, do you mean like every year until the property is ready, it's going up 12%?
Yeah. No, not so much even capital appreciation. Let's say even on rent. Yeah, let's say even
like
say
rental.
Yeah. Let's
I've
say
never
rental.
told anyone 12% rental
I
yield.
think
because I used to hear that get thrown around before I was in the game,
and I
was like, really?
No, and I say your agents lied to you. I've never once told someone 12%
what
The
ROI.
Dubai standard.
Not to put anyone in it.
No, go on.
The Dubai standard is for long-term tenancies 6 to 8.
Exactly
that.
that.
Lucky 9.
Exactly
100%.
that.
When you talk about short-term, then you can venture over 10%.
And then but I would say in Business Bay, you can get 9% in some Business Bay towers.
With you,
it depends when you bought, though.
Exactly.
Right? So to Trist's point, it's getting harder to go down the model of flip, right?
Definitely,
And the biggest problem I think that we have is there's a lot of hype agents that have come onto the market recently.
Yeah.
And they're looking at data and statistics and sort of price points from COVID time and comparing that to today and saying, 85% capital gain in 4 years.
Yeah.
You can't use COVID and something that was completely unprecedented, one of the craziest thing that happened to us, and the market at that time, and then compare it to 2026 today. You can't do that anymore, I don't think.
What's your experience? Because you're Dubai long term, like you 20 all your life, right?
Look,
how have you seen Dubai change when it comes to pricing and demand? Because obviously your family owns property here.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think Dubai is always ever changing, right? There's always going to be certain pockets of Dubai that will always do better than others. I think my favorite example is the airport example, to be honest with you, because when they announced they were building Dubai Terminal 3, and I'm talking the home of Emirates Airline now, and they were saying that it's a 100 million capacity airport, everybody laughed.
Yeah.
Everybody laughed.
Yeah.
Right?
Really? Yeah.
Everybody laughed. They said, when are we ever going to get 100 million people a year come through this airport?
Yeah.
And now we're building Al Maktoum Airport, which is 3 times the size, right? I don't think people are laughing anymore.
Yeah.
People are now thinking, let's back that, right? Let's back that. And you got to see, if a government is willing to invest billions into building an airport that big and shut down what is effectively the busiest airport in the world today and shift out towards that Dubai South area, don't we think the government knows what's coming in Dubai? Like they've got the master plan, right? They know that 2040 vision. They know the direction that we're pushing towards. And I think as investors, sometimes it's as simple as just taking a step back and looking at that and saying, if the government is shifting the trade center, the convention halls, all of that to the expo site.
Exactly.
We're moving the airport out to Al Maktoum, right? We're shifting naturally away to those areas where, as you guys pointed out earlier, once upon a time were in the middle of nowhere. Right? People were saying that's far away. Once upon a time, Emirates Hills and Jumeirah Islands were far away, right? And today they're in the heart of Dubai, essentially. But I think Dubai is very different to most cities in the sense that it's not got one geographical center or one geographical hub. It's like 6 or 7 of them.
Yeah.
It's completely decentralized.
Yeah. Which is...
And there's so many... sorry to cut you. I think off the back of that, there's so many micro markets. So I think that's a big misconception that people have. It's like they look at it as one. You can't look at Dubai as one.
This isn't London. It's not a zone 1 to zone 6, 7, 8 situation.
The worst thing I hear from clients, how far is it from downtown? I'm like, why? Why? What's happening in downtown?
What is happening in downtown?
People live and work elsewhere. I have to keep saying, I'm like, I never go to downtown. I never go JBR. I never go Marina. And then one client's like, so where'd you go? I'm like, everywhere else. Like, there's so many other places.
It's interesting, because we've said in this conversation that that they're getting it and they're catching up. But you know what? There is still such a gap.
There
like
is.
when I talk to UK investors, like you just said, like people talk about JBR, there is still such a massive gap. For me, I think for us on this side of it, that's quite exciting because we're here and we can guide them in naturally, right?
They know those areas because they come as tourists.
Exactly.
And this is what I have to always explain.
Yeah.
I live here. Ali shouted at me the other day when he was talking about client because his client's just not getting it. He's like, you live here. You live here. Tell him I live here. I know this place. I'm like, okay, I did. But like, you know, they can only visualize that. And I think they honestly think the normal communities is like desert. Like
that's why there's a massive gap for like content. Because and this is something I'm even realizing like every day, right? Is because things that we see as so normal, like as I said, I've just gone to the valley, and naturally, like especially the way I grew up, like you don't really show where you live too much. That's just not where I'm from, right? But I'm realizing that you guys don't know about the valley. Like you actually don't know. No. Like not us, obviously us, but there's so many people that don't know, right? So it's like it gives us so much space to educate on things like Arabian Ranches or Dubai Creek Harbour or like, I don't know, Dubai Land and Rak and Ajman.
Yeah.
Like even yesterday, like I posted Ajman. I'm thinking in my head, like my knowledge of Ajman is very minimal. So I was just naturally thinking everyone else's. Bro, I get so many messages. Like, people saying they was about to retire their parents there. I've got someone who's saying that he was he's into golf and that's like his go-to.
Yeah.
So I think, that there's such a lack of education. But for us, I think, and any agent watching this as well, our job is to fill that gap. Like we have to educate.
Yeah. But then I think on the flip side, clients need to be ready to be educated.
True.
It's really frustrating when people are like, oh no. Like they just don't want to be open to it. Like I get it's your money.
Yeah.
Like I'm an investor. I got property. You know, me even looking to buy property here, I'm just like, where do I actually want to live? Like, where do I want to live, kind of thing? Because there's so many good areas that I want to be in. Do I think about work? Do I think about long-term family situation? For me, that's why it's a hard decision. Like, what am I catering to
That's
for
what
myself?
They're going through, though.
No, for myself. But if it's an investment and it's purely not relocation's different.
Yeah, fair.
So I get it. Like. Again, I did another post on LinkedIn saying, I understand when I first moved here, I knew nothing. I didn't know where the proper supermarket was. I didn't know what area to live in. When you're relocating, is a whole different ballgame. There's so much emotion involved in it, right? But when it's an investment, and I'm saying to you, this is a good area to invest, and this is why. Here's the numbers. You don't know your bit. That's the bit where they're a bit like, I'll give you an example. I'm trying to tell my client, Maritime City is a great investment. All the reasons why, everything like that. No, it's a bit too far from the mall. I'm like, well, who are you catering to? Like, there's like a cruise ship and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh, no, we're used to the Palm, but you're not living in it.
Yeah.
Why do you care? Like,
It's
because it's what they're familiar with. So they feel more comfortable with their investment because it's what they're familiar with. And that's what I'm saying. You need to open up your mind a little bit. You're not buying for you to live in. If you're buying for you to live in, you will go exactly where you want to go. This is investment. So you got to understand and listen to me because you don't know this place.
It's always reverse engineering, right, from the goal.
Yeah.
And that's why you have to establish the goal. I had a client in town today and we went around, and before I even agree to go out and, you know, show you the city and show you projects, I have to be very clear on what your goal is. Because if it's rental yield, we're talking a different story. If it's capital appreciation, we're talking a different story. It depends on your budget. It depends when you want to exit. Do you know what I mean? There's so many factors. And if a client isn't willing to come down to clarity on that point, because I know sometimes it's confusing. I just have $1 million. I don't know where to put it.
Yeah.
What's the best? Let's have all the discussions first and then look at projects.
Yeah.
You know, otherwise it comes down to what you're saying. You just get overwhelmed. You get intimidated. You don't make a decision. And it's a waste of everybody's time.
Sometimes I leave clients for a while, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you guys do the same. Like, I had a client a few weeks ago and he was honestly like the worst in the sense of he's definitely liquid. He's got a portfolio, but he ended up, I know this guy at Bengali, you can give me this 15% discount, and then this guy and that guy, we went, and I got to a point where I thought, you know what, he will buy, but I'm not doing this. Like, because sometimes it's almost like you've got to let them go and learn for themselves.
Yeah, and I'm not a tour guide.
Yeah, I'm not a tour guide as well.
I'm sick of being a tour guide.
But I will go back to like, one thing I like about like Kash's experience of being in Dubai is that for me is the main selling pitch.
Yeah.
Of like you said, when people don't get it, I think if you go back to his experience of like, okay, let's go back to the beginning. This was a desert, and then this happened.
Yeah.
And then this was a desert. Like, I don't know if you saw the viral pics going a few days ago. It was like Dubai Creek Harbour, like 20 years ago, and then it showed, like, I saw a lot of people sharing it. And I honestly think if people can't buy into that, then they need to be left alone for a while, because the proof is literally in the pudding.
Yeah, you can't. Some people you just can't convince them, and you've got to do what you got to do. But speaking of like what we're saying, that what's good of, you know, what's a good area and convincing someone what's a good area, what would you say is a good area to invest right now? I think you
that's a hard question.
I'm shocked at that question.
No. This is
it's for the sake of the conversation.
No. It's because he said I want to talk about D3. That's
okay.
Oh, do I?
So that was a setup.
Yes, you do.
Do I?
You said to me, because me and him were talking yesterday about D3, right? And we were comparing Miras and we were comparing Select.
Yeah.
And, well, what did you say to me? You were like, oh, the sizes and prices.
Me and him had this conversation.
Yeah,
today
we had
in the
this.
cycle.
I've had this conversation with a lot of people. So I made a video, obviously, on the difference between sort of City Walk, comparing that to D3, right?
And you sold one in D3.
And I sold one in D3, yeah. But obviously, aside from that, I think any area that you want to invest in Dubai, you have to compare it to a like-for-like area, right? Or a like-for-like concept at the very least, be it from the same developer or a different developer. It doesn't really matter. So when I drew the comparable between City Walk and Design District, it was City Walk started as an area which was commercial, F&B primarily. Design District started right now as an area where some of the biggest luxury brands in Dubai currently have their office spaces.
Yeah.
It's a 100% occupied office space area.
I used to go there all the time for coffee.
I love walking around there.
I worked there. I was my working from home area.
I took my team there yesterday, and some of them are new to Dubai, right? Yeah. And they walked around there and they said, it doesn't feel like Dubai. It feels a bit like New York.
Yeah.
Right? It feels a bit like we've gone somewhere else and we're walking around.
Yeah.
And you've got this major like office vibe of all these office people going around. And you can go there. And what I liked is we were there around 6, 7 p.m. because they were doing the launch for the edit.
Yeah.
And it was rammed. Aside from the fact that the launch was happening, which is on the other side of D3. Anytime you go to Design District after 6, 7 p.m., it's busy.
It's my favourite home bakery.
It's busy.
I always
People
go
are
home
there.
bakery there.
Yeah, but you'd think that it's an office area, so after 5 o'clock, it's dead, ghost town, right?
Yeah.
I compare it to, for example, Canary Wharf in the UK. I used to live in Canary Wharf for a while. Canary Wharf after 5 p.m. was a ghost town. Nobody was around.
Yeah.
Nobody's around. The F&B would struggle, the bars would struggle.
Really weird. What year? Because I was working in Canary Wharf and it was the opposite, but this might have been later.
This was 5 years back.
Okay, that's actually, that's after me. Because when I was in Canary Wharf, it was like Thursday, like after work crowd was booming. Like the City of London crowd, like all bar one. And that was a thing. And
but that's mainly the big offices like pouring out and everyone going for a pint, right?
On that note, have you heard about 25 Jump Street?
No.
I have. I've been
not that
there.
you guys drink, but
I've been there, yeah.
You might see me rolling around there.
I don't even know
it's going to be my new spot.
Where is it?
So it's next to 25 hours, 25H
25
Hotel.
Yeah.
The whole strip, they've turned it into basically like restaurants and bars where you can do some bar hopping. But it's not just for drinking, it's for restaurants as well. They just recently opened it. But I love, Chris Spade, he's opened a comedy club there.
Okay.
So called Pepperoni. Like, I can't wait to go. But what I loved, like they are bringing a bit of that vibe back, like where you can go bar hopping.
Yeah.
I can go bar hopping.
Restaurant hopping.
That's a good vibe. It's definitely a good vibe.
Sorry, cut you off. What were you saying?
I don't even know what I was
But
saying.
Talking about D3.
You were comparing Canary.
You were saying about areas.
You were comparing to Canary Wharf.
Right. Yeah. So that was just to draw a comparable between two areas, right? But the reason I like Design District as an area though is because for the first time they're building residential units there.
Yes.
And they're taking up the waterfront. And as we know, there's less than 5-6% of the waterfront of UAE left to be developed on, right?
Yeah.
So already as it is, scarcity plays a massive role in that. You know for a fact that if you're buying something on that coastline or waterfront or canal front, you're buying unobstructed views, right? And that's something that a lot of my clients don't seem to understand.
Yeah.
Is they'll buy a property today in a standalone residential tower and they'll pay the premium for the views.
Yeah.
And then next month the developer comes and sticks a 100-story tower in front of them. And there goes the view.
Yeah. How did you pitch it to your client? How did you get what made your client buy it? Was it numbers? Was it location? Was it...
See, I hope he's not watching this.
No. I mean, you don't have to tell too much of the story.
So the client in particular, the guy, I've known him for a very long time, personal client of mine, very good friend now. And I pitched it to him because he came to me and he's starting his property journey in Dubai.
Yeah.
And he's done very, very well for himself in America. And he's saying, I want to diversify my portfolio now and I want to come out here and I want to start. And his question to me was, Kash, if you were to start your property journey today, what would you buy?
Yeah.
And I said the edit.
Yeah.
And that was as far as he needed to sort of go with that. And he was like, okay, all right, I hear you.
I totally agree. I love the D3 area, but I kind of was discussing this with you as well.
Yeah.
Like, I like the select one. Even though the prices are higher and even
the
though
sizes are smaller.
For me, it's because I see the whole vision of it because it's on the bend, and I feel like, you're going to get views from that side, and you're going to get views of the Ras Al Khor. I said it to both of you. You get Ras Al Khor and possibly Dubai Creek Harbour. So for me, that's what my view was, and I feel like if you're going to buy it at this price today, yes, the prices are higher, but Miras are just going to keep launching and increasing the prices
100%.
Anyway. So eventually, yours would get to that level. And the fact that it's just one tower by select means there's scarcity. You're not going to get the copy and paste from the Miras units.
Yeah.
That was my thinking on it. What was yours?
I mean, I was naturally biased towards the edit. Like, I just wanted to hear your view because a client has said it to me. But I can't necessarily say it's economics. I think I just have a bias towards Miras. I think the edit just looks like an absolutely amazing project. Yeah, I just don't know enough about Select for me to really go that direction.
Yeah.
Even like today, I was saying to Kash, like, again, I'm not dissing Select.
No.
But I was just like, what are their signature projects? I don't know the Miras. I know so many.
Exactly. It's the trusted brand,
Yeah,
right?
that's all it is for me. I think also like they're so, the master plan is in their hands. So it's like, I think that's always a no-brainer in my eyes. Whenever I look at like master plans and it's like you're a part of their master plan, I think they're always gonna
look after their own.
Yeah. So that's my stance.
I mean, for me, I've always loved D3. Like from the first time I came to Dubai, there was one of the first areas I used to hang out in Dubai Creek Harbour all the time and D3. And I've always gone to Seoul DXB and D3
areas.
and MOTB. MOTB. So all those little things that happen in the district and all artsy and craftsy and stuff like that. I love that.
And that's
stuff.
the thing. I feel like this is feeding that like the demographic that you're from.
I think I'll live there.
Yeah, I feel like they're gonna start coming here more. And there's like in the UK and America, there's loads of them.
And
all
the freelancers as well.
Exactly.
All the freelancers that have got their own businesses and stuff.
Even if you look at visa changes, so it's like that for me, that master plan is 10/10 because it's going to be a home for those people. And the reason I go the edit, I feel like the edit has designed more with that in mind than Select has.
The name says it all.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
But I call it an extension of Business Bay as well because it's literally on the edge. You can just drive into Business Bay downtown. You got the water. They're gonna have the fountains there. Like, I think it's a really good place and somewhere to be excited about.
Yeah, for
100%.
sure. Yeah.
Why did you sell in the sanctuary today? How did that come about?
I mean, if you want, I can give them a story that is better for the podcast. But the truth is, the deal kind of came to me, if I'm being really honest.
They said they wanted the sanctuary.
Yeah, so
no, forget it.
Yeah. It wasn't. I can't actually take it down that route.
But you did fire some brokers for it, and so why did you get it?
Yeah, yes, that's a great question. It was a broker battle for sure. And that was based on. Do you know what? Where it really came from was relationship. Like, and this, I literally sent a voice out to my team on the way here to break it down. Like for me, and I know we're getting more sales now than actual real estate, but it's hand in hand.
It's fine. Yeah.
Like he had basically called me, right? And he had followed for a while. He was in my community, etc. And he had actually messaged and I hadn't actually got back to him. And then I got back to him and I was just like, let's jump on a call. Now, one thing about my style of sales, it's very, very relaxed. Like I'm not pressuring. I'm not like, don't get me wrong. I get to the bag, but I'm not, the client wouldn't feel that. Like as my peers would feel that, but my client would never be like, this guy just wants some money. Never, ever, 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 ever. So we had a conversation that was super casual, and I pride myself on those. And something that I do a lot is I learn in those conversations. I'm learning here. Like I take so much value from talking to clients. I learn probably more from clients than anyone else because they're on the other end of it, right? So I was talking to him and it was super casual, and there was a mutual respect there. He's a sales director, 13 years, and his whole vibe was like, look. He said, I hate agents. Yeah. He said, they send me loads of brochures. I said, I get it. Like, they send me loads of brochures. And one thing he said is they don't listen. So naturally, I mean, I always listen by default in that environment, but I'm 10x listening because I've heard what he said. So anyway, long story short, he let slip like, look, I just put an EOI in this project. But what I realized was, without dropping his pride too much, because he was an older guy, he didn't want to be like, put me in too much on a pedestal. So I realized he was actually asking, do I think he's made the right decision? Without just saying, do you think I've made the right decision? He was like, I was considering the value, but I've put an EOI down on Sanctuary. And he kind of just went silent. So something that I think is important that I'd done, and maybe not everyone would have done this, but I stand by this, right? He said, do you think I should take my EOI from Sanctuary and put it on the Valley?
Yeah.
Or do you think I've made a good decision? Bear in mind, if he takes it from there, he becomes my client, right? I said to him, I think you should leave it on the Sanctuary.
You gotta be honest.
Because number one, and again, it's not to say I think Sanctuary is better. I think, again, like we've said, different strokes for different folks.
Yeah.
What I said to him is, if you've got the budget for Sanctuary, then stick with Sanctuary, right? Because it is, for Shoba, it is, firstly, it's their first time of doing the Townhouse Villas, which comes with a bit of risk, but I think Shoba, we trust Shoba at this point. They're going to have higher quality than many of the communities out there, especially on their first project, I would say. And it's in the Dubai land. Like, you know, I'm very, very bullish on Dubai land. Like, I think that's where the kids of the next 5-10 years are going to be raised, personally, right? I think that's where a lot of the families are going to be.
That's where the schools are as well.
Exactly.
All the good schools.
Exactly. So, yeah, it was sort of a thing of, I said that, and then I think he felt like, okay, I've made the right decision. And then I completely stepped back. Like, I said to him, look, wish you all the best of it, but let's stay in touch. And then I just cheekily was just like, have they got you do you think they're going to get you a good unit?
Yeah.
And he was just like, well, I don't know. I just don't know much. Like, they haven't really told me much. It was just EOI.
That's the problem.
So then I was like, my opening. And then from there, I was like, well, look, no pressure, but, you know, I dropped in one of our team members' names who's very connected at Shoba. And I was just like, we've got the in with Shoba, and I'm very confident that that's where I could come in. I always say to clients as well, look, as agents, most of us have access to the same stock, right?
Yeah.
I'm never going to sit here and say, no, I've got it and they haven't. But the real USP is relationships with the developer, like real relationships as well. Because as we all know, like, there are perks to having relationships.
Yeah.
And yeah, from that, he was just like, look, he messaged me last night and he said, look, if you can, he actually said, if you can guarantee me a good unit, I'll roll the dice with you. And I said, same thing I say to anyone, I said, I can't guarantee you anything.
Exactly, yeah.
I said, but what I can do is I could be as close to that than you'll ever get with anyone else. And then, from there, he went with it. So, yeah, I think it was just relationship. And I think a lot of agents, like, should really take from that. I think that's where I think, when I looked at the market before I even got in it and I was training agents, I just used to look at the sales skills, and it was just too push. And I think that could damage, going back to the market now, we could end up having a wave of investors that are invested in shit stock, because the agents are just like,
trying to get a deal.
Just wanting commission and not caring, you know.
I want you to talk more about so you've done a few deals in RAC. Now, we all know why we love RAC, but how did you convince your client to buy in RAC as opposed to, say, Dubai or Abu Dhabi? Like, what made them or you, like, what were yours? What was the reason for that area?
Risk appetite and high reward, right? Appetite.
Yeah.
Like we keep saying, Dubai's matured to a certain extent, whereas RAC is just beginning. So it's like investing, you know, the typical things we say, Palm Jumeirah 15 years ago and so on, because the gaming resort, that's a proven concept globally, right? You look at Macau, you look at Marina Bay Sands, you look at Vegas. Even if RAC does like half of that, 10 million or 7 or even 2 million visitors, you know, which they're already doing before the casinos open, because it was 1.8 million, right?
Yeah.
Tourists last year. All of those people need somewhere to stay.
Yeah.
And right now the price per square foot is better than any waterfront you're going to find. Well, was. Better than any waterfront you were going to find in Dubai.
You didn't do the whole follow the crowd and buy on Marjan Island.
No.
You chose another spot, which is...
It's because I personally bought there myself.
Yeah, but I love that spot. So when I first learned about RAC, I did a whole tour of Al Hamra and I did a whole tour of Mina Al Arab before I ever went Marjan Island. Yeah. And I've always been a fan of Mina Al Arab because I knew what was coming there. Yeah. And to me, that is a better spot than Marjan Island, personally. Yeah,
it depends why you're buying, but definitely, Sure. I like Al Hamra because I think it's going to retain quality. Yeah. It's going to retain like a certain crowd, so to speak. So the people that will choose to live there will definitely be different than the party goers and gamblers of Marjan Island. But again, it just depends why you're investing.
Yeah. But then you've got Waldorf Astoria and Ritz-Carlton there and the golf course. Like, and you've got that,
And Armani. There's so many hotel brands on those two islands.
In Al Hamra?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know they're all there.
Yeah. No, they're coming. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's why then.
Yeah.
Cool. Right. This is my favorite part. So there's 3 random questions that was given to us by a good friend of mine called Harley, who is also an agent in Dubai.
Big up Harley.
Yes, Harley.
Big up Harley.
We need to get Harley on the... Harley is a
Sound like
downtown
an MC.
specialist in secondary if anybody needs one. So, yeah, Harley gave me these 3 questions. Like I said, one's a bit... I don't think I'd answer it. And the others... Oh, okay. One I hope you don't get because it'll be too easy. So I'm going to just
Am I starting?
throw it in the middle.
Oh, ladies first.
And you guys decide who's going to answer what.
Lisa's picked for us here.
That's all right. I was getting a bit anxious, to be honest.
Who got the first one? Who wants to start?
I mean, mine's quite straightforward. So
What is it?
one of you must have the mad one.
I don't know the
It looks
answer
like
to
Lisa's
mine.
got the mad
I'm
one.
like, what?
Yeah. Lisa's
The
definitely got
worst
mad
one to get it because she's so good. So yeah, let's start with you,
I'm
Trist.
checking myself first.
Mine is, which area in Dubai feels most like home to you?
That's what I didn't want you to get.
Okay.
Yeah, because it'll be so easy for you to answer that.
It's definitely like in the last few years been the Dubai land area,
Mm-hmm.
but it's rapidly becoming Nad Al Sheba.
Yes. Nada
I
Sheba.
love
Yeah,
Nada
I'm
Sheba.
starting to
I-
really fall in love.
I
I'm a
live there
Maidan.
too.
I'm a
Yeah,
Maidan
me
girl.
too.
Yeah, I will never leave
Yeah.
Maidan.
Yeah, I'm starting to really love Nad Al Sheba. So inshallah,
Inshallah.
Nad Al Sheba Gardens is on the
Can I-
vision
on the
board.
horizon.
You know when I first came to Dubai and the first one went to the Marasal Centre and I got briefed on Nad Al Sheba, it was phase 1. There was a 5-bedroom villa and I was like, I'm going to buy that one day. And I literally wrote my initial on it on the model. So I'm going back for that villa one
Yeah,
day. Like I
yeah,
know I
honestly.
am. Like
Do it.
it's
Do
well,
it.
Yeah.
I think what I love about it is
You know?
it's so it doesn't feel saturated.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel busy.
Yeah.
It
That's
feels
what
so
yeah.
perfectly placed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really nice. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's me.
But I'm pretty good at saying I'm going to do something and I do it because I stood in District 1 showing some juniors around the lagoon. I was like, one day I'm going to live here. Exactly a year later, I moved in. So even when I came to Dubai, I was like, I'm going to move to Dubai in a year. Exactly a year later, moved to Dubai. So
Yeah. I
gonna
moved to
move to
Nada
Nada
Sheba 3 months ago. I don't want to leave.
Yeah.
oh,
Don't want to
I'm
leave.
so jealous.
It's an amazing community.
Yeah.
Really
It
nice.
is.
What's your question?
I don't want to answer this.
You've got the worst one.
No, the question is, if real estate were a personality trait, what would yours be?
Yeah.
I don't know how to answer that.
Real estate was
Elaborate on that for me, Kirren.
So,
if real estate were a
Personality
personality
traits, like someone's really funny, someone's
Yeah.
got bipolar, someone's like
okay.
bipolar. So if you were describing real estate to someone like they were a person, like real estate was a
Dubai
person,
real estate.
how would you say Dubai real estate is?
Aggressive.
I was gonna say.
Aggressive is the route I'll go down.
What makes you say that, out of curiosity?
I think the market's so aggressive out here. Not even just the market, everything. Like the developers are aggressive in marketing, the agents are aggressive in
got you.
selling.
Yeah.
I think it's a very aggressive market. And everyone's trying to do better than the other person. But I think that brings great competition.
Yeah. That's a good answer. I don't know why you're worried about it. I'm just like, oh yeah, actually,
I
it
told
really
you, Kash
fits.
is a natural.
Yeah. And then Lisa.
Lisa, you're up.
Lisa, you're just gonna say no comment.
I'm so interested to know what this is now.
What's one real estate rule you secretly break?
Oh.
Oh, snap. Damn, the exposure.
What do you mean? On which side? As a broker or as a...
Anyway,
I'll tell you one easy one.
yeah.
I don't bang phones, that's for sure.
Oh yeah.
I'm not great on my... I wouldn't say I'm not great, but I just don't believe like... And our
So, yeah.
bosses shouldn't watch this.
No,
I
so
don't
for-
believe
I hope
in
my team are
calling
watching. My
no,
team
no.
tune out
Because
right
you
now.
should be banging
No,
phones.
yeah.
calling
You should.
100 leads a day.
For people that are not
Yeah.
used to the whole, agent lifestyle, we should be making 100 calls a day. That's the basic, right?
Yeah.
Lisa does not need to do that because Lisa has built her network and
Okay.
you have great presence on social media, which you've built. Now, this is what every agent aims to be at, as far as I'm concerned, where we can stop ringing and our phone's ringing.
Yeah.
Like, that's the position you want to be in
like
as
the
an
way you said
agent.
that.
Yeah. No, it's true. And so I'm halfway there. Like my phone rings a lot now, but not enough. I want more kind of thing. So no, definitely. Like you said, you had a personal client. So when that network grows from relying on company leads to then actually I've built my own network in different countries as well, in Dubai as well. Like it's amazing. Like it just grows. You've got a massive network. Like you don't really need to
Even
ring
before
leads.
real estate,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, I think my journey was unique though, because it's like I never like want to make it seem like this is like 10 plus years of building a network, and it's across many different industries. But yeah, I am definitely in a super blessed position because like because I come from super humble beginnings, I still have super fear. So like sometimes Nate's like, do you still want leads? And I'm like, yes. Like, because I'm just like, this could all stop tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like, you just never know. Like,
do you know?
I know the trajectory looks like it's not, but you just never know. Like, I might just stop getting.
Do you know?
I never know.
Do you know the biggest bit of advice that I've always had in my ear, wherever I've been? And this is to Hamid Jaffrey. When my first floor meeting in One Investments, Nathan and Hamid were there giving their whole, pep talk and everything. Hamid stood there, and it's always stuck with me. And honestly, I live by it. He said, work hard today, because and tomorrow when the market does slow down, then you'll be comfortable.
Yeah.
These other brokers out here that are working hard now, making the money and blowing it today, and they're like, I'll close the deal, I'm going to chill for a few months. Where they're going to be when the market does slow down and we haven't got... So, and that's the thing, he was like, graft today, like work hard whilst the opportunities are there, take every single opportunity.
And that's already happening. You see it in the secondary market, right? Like it's literally tightening up. Getting listings, the number of people that can list.
There's too many agents on one property.
No, but it's closing up now. Yeah. So the opportunity is just far less than it was, for example, when I came.
Yeah.
Now you can't even cheat like list with, it's another rule maybe I used to break.
she breaks a lot of rules.
These days, I'm glad you got that question.
But you know what I mean? Before you could list without your RERA, and then, do the listing and have someone who's RERA qualified. All brokerages do this. It's not a personal thing. While you're working on your RERA, but now you can't even do that. It's tightening up, and I think it's a very good thing.
Yeah, I'm glad
because a lot of riffraff will fall away.
That's the other thing I've always known in the back of my head, because obviously I get frustrated with the other agents because I've got experience, and we've got I know all of us have got a very professional way of working. We're very as much ourselves. We give you much of a human conversation, but we're very professional, and we return calls and we do what we need to do. Whereas these uneducated brokers, or the brokers that just don't care about treating this like a career.
The hype brokers.
Yeah.
It's the hype brokers.
Yeah, they drive me crazy. And the ones that give kickback, oh my God. That's a whole nother episode.
I think a lot of that does come from life experience. Or even when you were saying about my network, I'm 34 years old. Like at this stage, and I know where you're gonna go with that.
Literally
but I just mean when I'm
10 years older than you.
But when I look at the majority of the industry, it is usually mid-20s, I would say, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like life experience, I was a broker in London and had a brokerage at 24, and I was that blowing the money, didn't think. So it's just life experience. I don't judge it, but I think we're in a blessed position, especially if you start maturing in your mind and then you realize what this opportunity is.
It's not bad to blow your money. Enjoy your life. You work hard, enjoy it. But what the point that Hamid was making that time is, don't get relaxed because you close a big deal. And so for me, that's always in my head. And when we did Lisa's podcast, one of the questions she asked is, how long have you gone without closing a deal? And I was like, oh my God, don't ever remind me that again. I was just like, how am I going to pay my rent? How am I going to pay my bills? So it's just, that's one thing I love about the commission only role. Like in the UK, I was comfortable. I know my money's coming in every month and my bills are going to get paid. Here, I'm like, although I have money in the bank, I might not make a deal next week or tomorrow or whatever. So
yeah.
So
I think Sheikh Mohammed put it best. He has a quote where he says, when you wake up in the morning in the UAE, I don't care who you are, you better start running.
Yeah.
The gazelle.
I read that, the gazelle. Yeah. And I think that in and of itself is just right from the top, all the way down, trickles down.
We've got to end on that. We have to.
No, I was going to say, we're done unless you guys want to say anything else.
No, thank you for having us.
Yeah,
it's
thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, you're going to have to stay there whilst I say goodbye kind of thing.
Okay.
Go on.
So that's a wrap for today's episode, season 2, episode 1. Thank you to Kash, thank you Lisa, and thank you Trist. Loved having you here.
Thank you, Kirren, for having us.
Thank you, Kirren.
Thank you. Look forward to many more.
Cheers to Coffee with Kirren.